Have you ever wondered why the world feels broken? Why people struggle? Why choices carry consequences? Why good and evil pull at the human heart every day? It started with a man, a woman, a garden of perfect peace. Today, journey with me to the beginning of everything, where a single choice opened the doors to the world as we know it. In the beginning, God formed the heavens and the earth. Light burst forth at his command. Oceans took their places, mountains stood proudly, and every creature began to breathe by his word. But creation wasn't complete. Then from the dust of the ground, God shaped a man. He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living soul. His name was Adam. God placed Adam in a breathtaking paradise called the Garden of Eden. It was unlike anything the world would ever see. Again, a place where the ground produced fruit effortlessly, rivers sparkled like crystal, and every animal lived in harmony. Adam was given a purpose: to tend the garden and care for the creatures God had made. But God said something powerful. "It is not good for the man to be alone." So while Adam slept, God took one of his ribs and formed a woman, Eve. When Adam awoke and saw her, he knew immediately she was a part of him, made for him, a perfect companion. They lived with no fear, no sickness, no death. God himself would walk with them in the cool of the day. Imagine that. Humans living in the presence of God without barriers, without shame. But in the midst of the garden stood two special trees: the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told them, "You may freely eat from every tree in the garden, but not from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day you eat of it, you will surely die." It was a simple instruction, but a crucial test of trust, love, and obedience. For a time, everything was beautiful. Adam and Eve worked together, played, explored, and lived in perfect unity. No guilt, no jealousy, no arguments. Their hearts were pure. Their minds were peaceful. Their relationship was unbroken. But an enemy watched from the shadows. One day, as Eve walked near the forbidden tree, a serpent, crafty and cunning, spoke to her. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" Eve answered, "We may eat of the trees, but not this one. If we touch it or eat from it, we will die." The serpent hissed with a voice full of deception. "You will not surely die. In fact, when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened. You will become like God, knowing good and evil." Eve looked at the fruit. It was beautiful, tempting, desirable. A thought whispered in her mind: why would God keep something so good from us? She reached out, touched the fruit, and took a bite. At that moment, nothing seemed different. No thunder, no shaking ground, no immediate consequence. So she took the fruit to Adam. And Adam, who knew God's command, still chose to join her. He ate. Then everything changed. Their eyes opened, not with glory, but with shame. They noticed their nakedness and felt fear for the first time. They tried to cover themselves with fig leaves, hiding from the God who had created them. When God walked through the garden that day, calling, "Adam, where are you?" they hid in the trees. The relationship that once overflowed with joy was now filled with guilt and fear. God asked, "Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. And paradise fell that day. God told them the consequences of their choice. The serpent would crawl on its belly. Pain would enter the world. Hard work, sweat, and struggle would become part of human life. And death, something never meant for mankind, entered the story. But even in judgment, God showed mercy. He made garments of skin to clothe them, symbolizing the first sacrifice, the first covering of sin. Then God said, "The man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil." He placed angels to guard the way to the tree of life and sent Adam and Eve out of Eden. They walked away with heavy hearts, leaving behind the perfect home God had created for them. Yet even as they stepped into a world of thorns and toil, God carried a promise. One day a Savior would come through the seed of the woman, who would crush the serpent's head and restore what was lost in Eden. Though Adam and Eve fell, the story of humanity was not ending. It was just beginning. This is the story of how paradise was lost, but it is also the beginning of God's plan to redeem the world. If you found this story powerful, inspiring, or eye-opening, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more Bible storytelling videos. And remember, every choice still matters. Walk with God today.